Hey everybody, Pastor Zach here. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today as we gather together and as we live into this community, into finding ways forward, into engaging the world together. How do we live? What does it look like? What do we mean to do? This past Sunday, we talked about what we're afraid of, but also about how society says we can cast people aside. It's the story of this man who was possessed by demons, by a legion of them, how society had seemed to try everything, ran off, and how he was alone, how he was isolated. And so how often do we do that? Do we just say they're not worth it? They're not worthy. It doesn't matter. They don't matter. What does that look like for us in our world today? What does it look like when we hear that organizations or that governments say, it's not worthy? I found it interesting, the post that I shared just a little bit ago about ChatGPT and about what it means for us to be built on the teachings of Jesus. And I find that so interesting because, we have groups that want to claim to take us back to being a Christian nation. And is that really what they want? Or are they trying to push a political thought process with the language that's not really connected? And I find it just so fascinating because, Jesus was faced with this too, was faced with these religious leaders who said to Jesus, you're not doing what we say. You're not doing it the right way. You're not, fulfilling the law. And yet Jesus comes at them with this notion of love and grace and hope and promise and cares for the people that he encounters. The story of our reading for today, or from this past Sunday, talks about that Jesus, heals this man, and then the guy wants to go with him. The guy says, Jesus, let me get in the boat. Let me go back with you. Let me be one of your followers. And Jesus says, no, stay here. Be part of this community that raised you, that you were a part of. Go back to it. And I think it's a reminder for us that, this notion, and I've talked about this before, this notion of restorative justice, that we have to be able to, repair some of the harm that's been caused. This notion of restorative justice is an approach that does that. It goes beyond punishment, because it emphasizes bringing the people who are harmed and those who cause the harms together in community with others to address the impact of the action and then to find a path forward with healing, but also accountability. It reminds us that our actions have consequences and that we have to own those consequences, but also that those consequences can offer healing and can offer opportunities to grow in community. We have an opportunity to be built and strengthen a stronger community, a stronger nation, and a stronger world. And it's not by saying to someone, you are not worthy. It's by saying, you are beloved. You are cared for. You are part of a community that sees you, that seeks to interact with you, that not only do you have a seat at the table, but you belong here at this table. That's what Jesus does in this reading, and that's what we are reminded that we are called to be as followers of Jesus. Yes, we don't always get it right. Yeah, it's easy to say we only want the people that will conform, that fit into our box, because then we can do what we want, because everyone will agree. But that's not what Jesus does. If Jesus wanted to do that, he would have stayed with his 12 disciples and not gone anywhere else. He would have collected these people and just gone up a mountain and waited But he doesn't. Jesus goes to these places. He goes away. He goes out. He becomes invitational. He engages those in community that the community has said are not worthy. And he sits with them. And he eats with them. And he sees them and he loves them. So if we are followers of Jesus, if we want to claim that, isn't that what we should be doing? If these groups who say they want to see a Christian nation, which, as that post says, Jesus didn't want political power. He wanted something that was more powerful than political power. He wanted love. He wanted the church. He wanted us and those who struggle with organized religion, but still believe, to see and to experience a restoration of love, a restoration of community that is invitational, that goes out, that doesn't force people to conform or force people to connect, but merely offers it. And then they get to make a decision. We get to make a decision. We get to see the opportunity, the hope that is there. Because imagine this. This man in our reading for today was never mentioned by name. He was only mentioned by what had happened to him in the worst part of his life. Would you want that? The worst thing you've ever done. And that is how you're known. I don't think anybody would want that. None of us would want to be remembered by the worst thing we've done. So what do? We offer forgiveness. We forgive ourselves. We forgive others. We live in community. We invite others into community. We seek to understand the basic understanding of God. To love people. To love those that are hard to love. To engage in conversation. To seek out restoration and justice. To offer healing and accountability. And to live in hope. To recognize that we are not perfect. None of us. That none of this is perfect, but we do our best. We do what we can so that we can engage the world around us, so that we won't be known by the worst thing we've done. But we will be known as someone who is loved by God, who makes mistakes, who's not perfect. And yet, in the midst of all of that, God invites us so that we can invite others to live in community, to care for one another, to be in relationship with one another. We're doing that this week here at AELC. We're having VBS. It has been so much fun to see all of these little kids, all of these kids be silly and have fun and engage in God's word in a variety of ways. So I invite you, join with us. If you have kids in the area, bring them on down tonight. We still have room. Show up. Join us for worship. If you're not quite there yet, join us online. Connect. Invite. Seek restoration. If you need support, if you need prayer, I'm here. We're all here. Let us know. This is your invitation. This is your opportunity. Connect with us. But more importantly, connect with God. Thank you all for spending some time with me today. I invite you, if this has been helpful, share it. Whether specifically or just in general, so that we can continue to share God's message together as community and look for ways to engage the world around us through the love of God. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. God bless.